we speak to Ntebo Mokobo, SABC's senior politics reporter, who's joining us live now. Ntebo, the president acknowledging, right, that Gauteng has recurring problems, which include governance failures, crumbling infrastructure, crime, as well as unreliable service delivery, among others. But it's one thing to say that these will be tackled head on and he wants to see action, but the residents simply just want the talk to stop and things to be fixed.
Good evening, Bongi, and good evening to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed, the president has touched on a number of issues, especially when it comes to service delivery, when it comes to the state of Gauteng as a province. But he emphasized that emerging from this meeting, they need to come up with concrete plans. They need to come up with tangible plans that would reverse the situation or turn the situation around. And one of them, you would recall that, they've put in place, especially here in Gauteng, they've put in place the Joburg Road Agency that is now being responsibility to look into the traffic lights, look into the potholes that are mushrooming all over the place. Again, the president emphasized the fact that there has to be security. And if you think of security, you think of the mushrooming of informal settlements in the province, and those informal settlements are not even helping the situation, because once there are this mushrooming of informal settlements, then people tend to connect illegally into the national grid, and that creates a problem again for the country, and especially for Gauteng when it has to host this G20 summit. You recall, Bongi, that the meeting comes against the backdrop of Gauteng and Johannesburg, given the responsibility to really prepare for the 2025 G20 summit that will be happening here, and for it to for these two places, Gauteng and Johannesburg in particular, to deliver the spectacular G20 summit. They have to be up to scratch, really. They have to be up to scratch in terms of the roads and everything that has got to do with the hosting of the magnificent and the huge summit like that of industrialized nation.
Yeah, and you think about the Gauteng Premier, right, talking about those G13 problems, which include what you've just spoken about, and that is the issue of the mushrooming of informal settlements all over the place. And certainly this is going to be one tough, thing that the department now needs to embark on, because surely this could have been handled when they saw one possible shack there being erected. Then they could have moved swiftly. But now it seems that they have their hands full, because everywhere you look, there are some new developments in a form of shacks.
Indeed. You recall, at some point in Gauteng, when Nombula Mokonyan was still the MEC for housing, what they did is that when they take you to an RDP house, they demolish your infrastructure, they demolish your shack. And demolishing your shack, they take everything, they sell it, and they give you the money. But now, these days, what normally happens is that when people are given RDP houses, they then rent out their shacks to other people. So the mushrooming of this informal settlement will never end for as long as you've got an open-ended sort of approach, where you have to give someone an RDP house and you don't even care about what's happening beyond him getting an RDP house and what's going to happen with his or her shack. So that has been a recurring problem in Gauteng, and mainly in some of these urban cities and urban provinces like the Western Cape, KZN and Gauteng. That has been a serious problem. And that problem will recur for as long as there is no one who's monitoring in terms of what happens when you are given an RDP house.
And you think about the sorry state of Johannesburg, a city that has been described as, one that is the city of gold, as some look at it, and then you look at, the number of people that are in this particular city. You look at the potential investment that could be coming into the city, but its state is quite something to, that leaves a lot of people disheartened. So has he given time frames? Because it's one thing to speak about the plans, it's another to speak about this district development model. But has he put time frames by when he needs these plans to be put in place so that everything is fixed?
In fact, everyone was pinning his hopes on what are the timeframes, for instance, what will happen after or beyond these deliberations or interactions with the Gauteng Provincial Executive, and especially tomorrow, where he will be interacting with the city of Johannesburg, the MMCs, as well as the mayors. The problem about the tangible and sort of, and even the time frames, is that we were hoping that he would engage, because there were presentations that were made by the mayor, the premier. There was a presentation that was made by premier, and of course inputs from MECs, and we thought that we would be allowed to be in that presentation, but we are told that it was a closed meeting. And after that, there has to be a closing remarks. We thought they will be given the opportunity to cover the closing remarks, but it didn't happen. Because we wanted to abreast ourselves and to really satisfy ourselves in terms of the time frames. Because remember, this G20 summit is happening later this year, and South Africa doesn't really have time to clean its cities, especially Johannesburg. If you look at the city center, and if you look at Gauteng, if you look at when it comes to the potholes, you can do the potholes, but the filth in the city, it's not really easy to clean the filth in the city. So that's going to take time. And we're hoping that the Premier and the President will keep us abreast in terms of the time frames. When are we likely going to see Johannesburg returned to its former glory? Especially because some still say it's a world-class African city. How does it then begin to go back to, its former glory? Thank you so much, Ntebo, for that. And it's interesting that, we still are talking about time frames even during this conversation, something that I'm sure the residents themselves are wondering as to when that will actually be publicized. But thank you so much for speaking to us.